Think tank. Think tank. What is think tank? Think tank is basically an idea that groups of students within a class will work together in little think tanks to solve complicated problems. In this case, we're dealing with Algebra 2, right? Now, even though the parabolas are in Algebra 1, we had to do a little bit of review because even though some of the students in my class, who are teenagers, are having a problem with parabolas. They've done it once, but they don't fully grasp it. So you know what that would mean on a standardized test, they wouldn't get it. So this part of Think Tank, I'm going to talk about the math between me, Zonftil, Jeremy Teat, copyright 2010, that came together about trying to create a game to teach parabolas. And the philosophy behind doing activities like this is, instead of students being forced problems, you know, and then they just do those problems and solve them, they find that if the student can make their own problem and then solve it based on those math concepts, they'll have a longer understanding of how that math actually works, okay? So in this case, I thought it was kind of ironic, since my class population are teenagers, I would get teenagers to make their own problems. Because don't we all make our own problems when we're teenagers? Huh? Okay, never mind. So the first thing is that we need to understand about parabolas is that unlike, you know, these things, like straight lines, they're curved, right? So in this case, if they're curved, they're going to be curved on the coordinate plane, right? Good old-fashioned, let's say blue is x, that is your domain, and let's say red is like your range, right? Alright, so for this game, right, we want to focus on the idea that there is no negative range, right? Because they're going to be shooting things. I don't condone war, okay? I don't play realistic war games, but if you want some action in the classroom, kids into things, they got to have something they can rate to, right? Like an action movie, just like a G-rated action movie, if you would, because there's no blood, violence, or anything else. They're just trying to shoot an imaginary base. So in this case, in this imaginary base, you wouldn't have any negative y numbers because, as they see on the internet, that would be a fail. Hopefully not like this video. And in this case, you'd want to have only positive y values, and you'd want to shoot something from the ground, like a catapult, and go, boo, and like hit the target somewhere, right? In this case, for the target, instead of a curve over, we're going to hit it at the max. Not the minimum. Minimum doesn't exist. We're going to hit at a parabola max, okay? So what did I have students do? I had them group into teams, okay? Team A picked some point along the positive side. I guess this would be the positive side, little inverse problem with the camera, right? So somewhere Team A picked a positive side here, right? Positive x, positive y. And Team B picked also somewhere around here a positive x and a positive y, all right? So let's see what Team A hypothetically would pick. So Team A, you know, would say like, alright, I need Team A to pick some values. My teachery voice, right? And then what would happen is that then the team A would just basically go like, we'll take 4, 3. That's my teenager voice, okay? So what does Team B get? Team B gets their target. Their max is now 4, 3. Team B has to come up with a function, an algebraic function that represents a parabola that's going to hit 4, 3's base, right? So here's the thing that we first need. They need a target. 4, 3 maximum. Good, yay, 4, 3. Remember that, all right? Next thing they need, because I don't want students like, you know, shooting, I don't know, imaginary cannonballs all over class on their paper, doodling drawings of who knows what, because they can't necessarily know where they're trying to hit. Let's make it a little easier. Let's give them 4 arbitrary points, all right? So we're going to say A equals the angle of negative 0.5, comma, or -1, or -2, or -3. And A has to be negative because, remember, we're hitting a positive value, okay, on the y side of things. Then, cut, reload. Okay, so to review, they have now 2 aspects. They have max of 4, 3. At the same time, they have their A value, which will be -0.5, -1, -2, -3. There will be 4 fixed canon sets, all right? And then from that, we need to also know as a given, we need to review some formulas. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Standard form, right, for a parabola, right? All right. And what they're missing then is they're missing b and c, because they have an x value and they have an a value, right? Okay, well let's figure out how to find b. In order to find b, we need to know that from that formula, we can get this formula. dy equals 2ax plus b. Why? We're only looking really for one side, right? Alright, dy equals 2ax plus b, right? Alright, fine. If that's the case, let's find it then. We plug in the variables, okay? So, for the first part, we get negative 2ax equals b, right? So what we did is we subtracted the 2ax, we set the equation to 0, and we moved it over. After we moved it over, we plug in the values, and we get negative 2 times negative 0.5 times 4 equals b. B turns out to be positive 4. Cool, right? Look it over. Does it look good? I hope it looks good. Alright, so b equals positive 4. We go back to that good old-fashioned standard form, and we have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? Alright, so now we have an a value, an x value, and a b value. Let's plug it in further, alright? We plug it in further, and this is what we have. We have y equals negative 0.5 times 4 squared plus 4c times 4, right, plus c, okay? 0, we set y to 0. 0 equals negative 8 plus 16 plus c. Then we set, subtract 8 minus 16, and then we get negative 8 equals c. Alright, well now, we got all our values, right? We've got our y value, we've got an a value, we got an x value, we got a b value, we got a c value. We can now make a function. And what does that function ultimately look like? In the cards of randomness. F of x equals negative 0.5 x squared plus 4 x minus 8. Now in this generation now, they've created a linear equation that can basically now be solved and create a parabola. And that's what we want them to do. And so now they can generate their own problems. Okay? And that's the math behind the first round of Think Tank. Okay? If you're interested in the rules of Think Tank for the first round and some of the character acting, where I get to play a general, then just click on one of the other videos where it says rules and maybe a little bit of the world that I'm trying to create with this game of Think Tank. Thank you.